What's guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the 10th episode of One Direct Priority. Funimation didn't put up a title up, but I believe this one's called Confession, based on last week's episode. I don't know why this one's missing, necessarily, but whatever. So yeah, One Direct Priority. Last time, we had an interesting episode, I think, because of the character we met, Kotobuki. And it was very much a Neru-focused episode through that. And I believe now that Rika's had her focused episode, Neru's had hers, I believe this is probably going to be a Momoe-based episode, if I had to guess. That seemed to be where we'd be going with it. And then once we've done her episode, maybe we then shift back to Ai and what she's going through. Because we kind of just put that on the back burner for a little bit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It gives us time to just sit on that, and then when we get introduced to that again, we'll see how it goes, and the whole Sawaki storyline. But we also have quite a main plot storyline starting to develop as well, and it's slowly creeping further and further into our narrative. But yeah, with Kotobuki and Neru, it was. I saw another analysis, like. People on AniList for this show have been phenomenal and have been giving very insightful comments and stuff that I read through, and it's been very interesting to see. So this one was from Alm on AniList, posted last week on the episode, and mentioning about the act of rebellion that essentially came from it, because Kotobuki was wanted just not as a person, but as a thing for the adults to use. She wasn't actually seen as a person anymore, and so she wanted that act of rebellion against the adults and say, no, I am my own person, I'll do what I want, basically. And to an extent, Neru is probably wanting something similar. Her life, as was touched upon in their little scene together, as they were painting the nails and having a takoyaki party, essentially, in how her life has basically been planned out pretty much to its entirety. She's a test tube baby. She doesn't actually know who her parents are. It was just two selected high IQ individuals put together, and boom, we now have another high IQ, well, in theory, another high IQ child, and it did actually end up being that. And so, again, she was a planned experiment, essentially. And now that she's running this company, that's her future put ahead of her. Like, she doesn't really have much say. She's like, you will run this company until the day you die, essentially. Or the day you physically cannot. So she doesn't have much room for anything else. Like, the normal life of a teenager. Like, that's not happening for her. Even though her life as a kid, not really happened for her. And Kotobuki was like that one instance where she could be a regular kid, but that obviously is now over as they cut Kotobuki's life support, since that was all that was keeping her going at this point until she would be collected, which Akira Nuraka knew was about and intentionally put Kotobuki's egg for Neru in that instance, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, it's a very interesting episode and very hard to talk around. This whole show is hard to talk around, I think. And it's not something I'm intimately familiar with. Like, I mean, especially with a show that deals with suicide, it's not something I'm super ingratiated into. I don't have experience, thankfully. Me and my family have no real link to it, per se. I know of certain people who have been through such things, but that's like more of a I've not been intimately close with someone who has had those sorts of thoughts at all. So I have limited frame of reference for it, so I'm hoping that the show is like going through various different things, which I think it has been. Like, from my perspective, it seems like it's been doing a very good job at that. Yeah, so it's been a ride. It's been a very interesting ride, and a very thought-provoking anime. And I think that is exactly what they were trying to do with it. It's a shame that production issues have started to come about, not in terms of the quality of the show, but in the fact that we had the recap episode out of nowhere. Same for Escape to an extent, and apparently there's like a lot of crunch when it comes to those shows right now, and a rush to get out, which just is the nature of TV anime, unfortunately. A lot of shows will get the first few episodes done before the air date, but whilst the show's airing, they're still working on the show, and certain shows don't do that anymore. Certain shows and certain companies are starting to complete the entire production before they put it out, but there is some merit in saying, okay, we'll still be editing and still be creating it as it gets put out, because I think even to like Western TV shows that happens, right? Like you don't completely finish a TV show's filming whilst it's currently airing. There's not all of them anyway, so there is kind of an overlap there. But yeah, I think this is going to be a Momoe based episode, if I had to guess. It would make the most sense since she's been kind of the most underdeveloped of all the characters so far. So we'll probably have that, and then episode 11 and 12 will get back to Ai, and potentially the mystery around Ako Noraka, and what's her face? Who was the girl? Misaki, who works for Neru, and is able to view Neru's dreams, which shows what she's doing in the eggs, and is interacting and passing that information on to Ako Noraka. And they mentioned how what was it? What was the actual wording of that? If they knew the true reason behind the girl's suicides, they wouldn't have the will to fight. And then she said, I think if they knew, they want to fight you. Implying that Ako and Naka are intrinsically linked to the reasoning why these girls are committing suicide. Or have the knowledge of why they commit suicide and don't attempt to stop them in any way. And maybe even encourage it. That's what I'm worried about with those two characters. They might be encouraging the suicides for a purpose. But it's hard to know. I've been suspecting them since the beginning just because they've been mysterious. But I wonder if they actually are antagonists in that sense, or if they're just, instead of them being antagonists, maybe they're the true neutrals. They don't care either way, they're just doing what they want to do and what they've been tasked to do, designed to do, whatever they are. Like, they just exist to do this thing. They don't care either way what happens. Perhaps that's what direction they want to go with them, as true neutrals, but I don't know. Why does Misaki know them? That's concerning, but anyway. Yeah, because Neru is apparently getting closer to the secret of girl suicides, which is a problem, apparently. I don't know. It's weird, and I love the show for doing it. But yeah, I guess we'll see what this episode ends up being. So, as per usual, these are time-based form actions here on YouTube. If you want to see full picture, you go to my Patreon down in the description below. £4 a month gets you access to all picture actions I do on the channel, which is everything from this season and future seasons, backdated shows, Patreon request shows, such as School Live, which will be coming up after this. Movies and such will also be on there. But here on YouTube we have to do time-based, so bottom left of the screen you'll see a time of the episode. I count down 3, 2, 1, play. Then play, you start the episode, I start the episode, and we'll be in sync. Watch this one on Funimation since that's related this season. We have the Aniplex and Funimation logos to start, so about 12 seconds logos. You can use screen flash on my face or the mic to tell when the scene is transitioning. Pro tip, look at this part of my headset here. That should give you a very good representation of when the scene is transitioning. It should be very easy to sync up with. So, with all that said, let's get into this week's episode, shall we? In 3, 2, 1, play. Aniplex. Funimation. Cheers. Here we go. Oh my. Very much a different look. Meeting up with someone? Who is this we're meeting up with? Whoever it is, it's going very well. And it's a dream. That's a shame. Okay. It is going to be a Momoe episode. Almost certainly. Alright. Hmm. Confronting them. Hmm. Oh. Really? Oh, immediately distracted from what's going on. Really? Were. Oh. Interesting. Very many. And they're distracted immediately. Okay. Immediately distracted. Apparently. I mean, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Right. Huh. Ah. Hmm. That's rough. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's rough. They're gonna be thinking about it for a while. Especially I. Hmm. Really? Oh. Is this past or is this current? I don't know. No, that's current. Okay. Makes sense. Makes more sense that it's current, actually. Hmm. Adorable. Alright. Hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay. Inside of my boy. Hmm. Oh. Of course, it's a heart shape. Hmm. I've got a feeling that they're implying. You know, boy. Candle Club. Okay. Uh. Oh. Oh shit. Oh shit. That's messed up. Yeah, and you've angered away now. Okay. Mm-hmm. Jesus. Mm. Mm-hmm. Might have hit the nail on the head, that one. This is the one of her instead. Hmm. Oh boy. Holy shit. Holy shit. Back to the train station. Hmm. Hmm. That's true. Hmm. Hmm. If only. What? Oh. It's yes, but what does that? What does that mean that it's over, though? Yes, she's no longer in the statue, but we don't just leave it there. Now what happens? That's that's strange. Yep. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. So who's it gonna be? It's not gonna be Quato, is it? I've got a feeling it's gonna be his painting of her because she was expecting Quato. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Straight up asking. Huh? Uh. Oh no. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Oh. 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 Oh god, that's creepy. Holy shit. Uh. Oh fuck. Okay. Okay. Hanko came back to life. So Haruka is. What does that mean? Does that mean Haruka's just back? Like, but where? Huh. She just straight up asked Sawaki about why did she die? It's way too upbeat considering what just happened. Um, so I just want to go back to this one line there that said something about fear of death. I just want to make sure I read that one correctly. All right, next episode title: An Adult Child. Okay. Yeah, I just want to go back and make sure I got that one specific line correct because I think that's going to be important that I actually understand that one properly when it comes to the fear of death. Where is it? To confront Thanatos, we need warriors of Eros, his polar opposite. She knows it now. The overwhelming fear of death, implying that she didn't know it beforehand. So by releasing Haruka and saving Haruka, who's apparently alive now, I don't know if that means we're actually going to run into Haruka at any point in the show or not, beyond what we've already had, or if she's alive in a weird sense. Again, what separates these four than the girls that we're trying to save essentially? What makes them different to the fact that they're frozen as statues instead of just simply placed into eggs? Why are they like that? That's what I'm somewhat confused by. I'm not confused, but I'm curious about, I should say. Because does that make them special in any way to Ako and Uraka's plans? Because what did they say? They need warriors of what? To confront Thanatos, we need warriors of Eros, his polar opposite. Will Momoe go back there for us? So it sounds like Ako and Uraka are actually not the antagonists, maybe? Like, they are, but they're not? It feels like they have their own thing to sort through. They need the opposite to fight something. Whatever they're looking into and researching, I suppose. Whatever their next goal is now that they've transcended their human shell. Well, mostly transcended anyway. But they want Momoe to go back in there for them? I'm just curious as to why they're different and what But yeah, so going back to because I don't think I actually said it in the episode in the end because I kept getting cut off by what the show was doing and I had different thoughts going in my head. But the boy that Momoe was saving, what was his name? Kaoru, right? Kaoru Kuta. Yeah, this is the one. So I'm assuming they're implying transgender, right? There, yes, I think, yeah, like biologically female, but is male, right? I think I'm getting that correct because like transgender and gender identities, like that's something I still have a hard time working out exactly what the correct thing to say in that situation is. But as far as I'm aware, transgender male, right? Physically born female, but is male and identifies as male, right? And therefore the being pinned down and objectified as a woman and made pregnant like that was incredibly traumatic, obviously. Because it's just a constant reminder of her female biology that she, or he, I should say, is not necessarily rejecting, but does not want to be viewed of in that way. Right? I think I'm vaguely right in how I'm saying that. It's hard to talk around, but yeah, I'm fairly certain that it's implied transgender character for Karu. I just don't think I said it in the episode at any point, but yeah. Right. Okay, here's Arm's. Okay, I found Arm's comment on Annulus, which is good. Yes, very graphic. Alm does not seem to enjoy that depiction of Karu. Actually, that's a good point actually raised by Alm. Every single person that we have encountered in an egg and been talking about and have ultimately been saving and discussing, and even as raised by Akanaraka, this is all about girls' suicides. And here we have a transgender character, biologically female at birth, identifies as male, but is still in this category of girls' suicides. That's an interesting point. Would that mean that every transgender male who is born biologically female would be put into this group as well? Even if it clearly is very painful to him to be identified as female like that? That's actually a very good point. I didn't even think about that. I just went like, okay, transgender male, cool, moving on. And I was like, but wait. That goes against the purview of the show of being about girls' suicides. And Akko and Araka being about girls' suicides. Unless because they're high IQ and implied smart and therefore think scientifically, maybe they're implying that... Maybe they're implying and thinking that the issues of a transgender male who was born female, those issues would relate to the troubles of girls' suicides in that context because it's still on the female spectrum of issues that they're dealing with. Like, that's a very interesting and complex argument to go through. And something that I don't think the show... I did not know the show would even try and bring that up. Like, talking about suicide is hard enough. Bringing transgender issues into it, oh boy, that's a minefield. That's an absolute minefield. I don't know how you talk about that without, you know. That's actually a very... I wonder. That is a very interesting debate. Like, that's going to spark a lot. Like, I think if this show was ever to be controversial and like anger the Twitter mob or whatever these types of shows do, like Redo of Healer and In-Species Reviewer and Funimation's decisions on, you know what ends up happening. This episode might warrant that sort of discussion, though, just because it. Did they need to put the transgender issue into the narrative at any point and question, like, by calling it a girl suicide? I don't know. I wonder if it might be that the show is trying to make a statement on how public perception might be very cruel in that way. Like, to the world, Kaoru is a girl because biological. And it might be trying to make a statement that just because you've identified as such doesn't mean the world necessarily is going to immediately agree with you. Maybe it's trying to raise and showcase the issue of this is what happens. The world isn't necessarily going to be immediately accepting of you. It's possible they're trying to make some sort of statement about that. I don't know which side they're coming down on, really, necessarily with that. I mean, like I said, bringing this into the show kind of makes it very, very complex. And I'm sure I'm going to have comments on this video about it as well, because how do you talk around this? I already have enough trouble talking around the show with suicide and stuff. Adding the transgender issue into it makes... I don't feel qualified to talk about any of it. I really don't. But it makes you think, and that is... The power of the show is to make you think. That's what the show has going for it. It makes you think about things you might not necessarily think about often. But the mystery of Koito's suicide is now going to start being put into light, which might go against Ako Naraka's plan for some reason. I don't know why it would, but apparently it's going against it. And whatever they're doing, which is like they need the exact opposite to fight what they have, so does that mean they need those who don't fear death to combat those who are intimately fearful of it? Like, where are they going with this? Where are they going with this? I have no idea. And I don't know if there's 2 episodes left or if there's 3 episodes left, because this is a 12-episode anime, and they used a full numbered episode, episode 8, for a recap. So does that mean we get 11 content episodes and that recap, or does that mean we're going to get 12 episodes total, but we're going to get tacked on episode 13 afterwards? I'm kind of confused by that. I think it's just going to be 11 content episodes total, and we've got next week's episode and the week after, but I'm kind of curious about that now, because I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, I feel like I've said a lot without saying anything. It really feels like I've been waffling in this post-discussion bit, so apologies if it does feel like that, but my head is muddled just because of what other shows I've been watching today, but also just because of this episode in particular. I don't know what I can say. I don't know what to say. That's the thing. I really don't know. And I suppose that's the beauty of the show, right? It makes you think. So, anyway, I'm going to call it there before I waffle on even longer for saying nothing. As per usual, thank you everyone for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the episode. Leave a comments as well down below. This is one of those shows where you need to comment, because discussion is so important. Don't forget to subscribe as well to see next week's episode, as well as the rest of the Winter 2021 lineup you can find on the channel. Thank you for watching. Till next time. See you guys later.